Hey guys, Richard here from Price Action and Income. And in today's video, I want to share with you my view on crude oil. And this came about after I had some requests from my members to try and make sense of what's going on with crude oil from a technical perspective using my analytical techniques. But before we proceed, I just want to mention that I'm not going to give you any trading advice on crude oil today, and I will only be sharing with you my own personal views and show you some interesting past occurrences of crude oil using a weekly time frame. Now remember that you need a solid trading strategy with strict risk management parameters in place before you try it yourselves, especially when you want to participate in the crude oil market. And those of you who have been trading long enough will know that crude oil can be very volatile, and that you can see very large moves unfold on a regular basis, and that a one tick move in the crude oil futures is equivalent to $10. Now we have already seen pretty large moves in extent of $2,000 per contract this month alone. And the recent decline that started on the 8th of January was over $6,000 per contract on one single day. So if you want to trade crude oil, then please make sure you know what you're doing, or participate in alternative instruments that are less risky but still give you exposure to the crude oil market. Right, in front of you guys here I have the weekly chart open that displays the historical price action of crude oil going back all the way to this July high here in 2008, which reached, I believe, $147, nearly touching the $150 handle, after which seen a massive decline unfold afterwards. Now, before I get into drawing my market geometry lines, I just want to show you which pivots I use to start figuring out which angle this market's operating and where important support and resistance levels are. And to start off with this drop, July 2008, massive drop. There was almost no market structure, similar to this few other moves that we've seen previously, and the last one that we've seen in October 2018. Now, since price dropped low here, it made a low on the 12th of Jan, or say early Jan 2009, went up higher, created a lower high, and then price started moving sideways in about roughly an extent of a $30 range, which is quite a large range, and it lasted from April 2011 to about here on the 16th of June, or about June 2014, in what looks like a triangle pattern. Now guys, this is obviously just in hindsight. I just marked my charts up here, but like I'll show you, after this ended was probably an E wave. We've seen another decline that broke the 2009 low, and it created, in my opinion, a very important low here in February 2016. And price nearly went as low as, well, it went as low as a $26 handle, almost reached a $25 handle, and has since been going higher. Now, this is where I start using a long-term analysis. I always like using market geometry lines. Some markets work really well with pitchforks, some not so much. So I like to use a combination of channels, and in this case, I drew a channel from this low to this low here in 2016, extended to this lower high, and you can already see that price has respected this center line on a numerous of occasions. Since this low in 2016, price went up higher, and then we had this massive decline in early October 2018. Price actually extended above this channel line in what made three drives to a high, is what we call it. There was some quite big divergence going on there, and we've seen this one hell of a sell-off going downwards again. Now at this high also, very importantly, price just managed to not tick this downward sloping trend line, which I drew from the high in June 2008, all-time high, to this high over here. You can see that the price obviously struggled to get through it over that occasion, and they nearly touched it there, but it was also in conjunction with this previous low, which support then turned into resistance. Price tested once, second time. There was a confluence of a few different lines at that level, and price came downwards. Now, if I just want to open this chart up a little bit and use a pitchfork, I can go from this low over here to that high over there to this low over here, and I used in this scenario a shift pitchfork, and that you will also see this is what we call an upper red warning line and a lower red warning line, which are adverse excursions that price can take, and especially in a market like crude oil, they like testing these lines. In this case, I used a shift pitchfork, and here was just another market geometry line that created resistance for crude oil on 1, 2, 3 occasions. So we have an upper median red warning line, sorry. We have that previous low and a downward sloping channel. Trend line where price nearly reached, and we had this massive drop lower. Now, where did price go towards from this drop? 2018 high to the December 2018 low was a 0.618% retracement of this entire move upwards from this 2016 low. Price then moved upwards and has since failed to break on one, nearly 2 times, and on the third occasion this long-term center channel line, which stood in its way, and price declined again. Obviously, guys, there were political factors that we need to take into account here. This is just a technical overview. Some of these lines I have drawn, that's been on my chart for a few years already. It's always a good idea to mark up your charts, especially when you're dealing with a weekly time frame. Because when you do use market geometry on a weekly time frame, then you'll quite often find that these lines are very important. Price is actually, while I'm talking right now, testing this lower channel line. But we'll also have to consider of what's been happening here since the April 2019 high. And in my opinion, it's not just an opinion, it's very clear to see that price has been stuck ever since in a very large range. Now, what's also quite important is to note that although price went to the 0.618% here, it went up, it failed to break through the 0.5 or the 50% retracement level on once, 2 times, 3 occasions. And this is a very important technical thing that I want to show you here, is that once you see a level being tested once, twice, some guys like doing the reversal trades on a double bottom, which is the case here. Then in a triple bottom, the more it punches against a level, especially an important level like the 0.5 or 50% retracement level, the weaker it can get. So my next thing that I would like to see is price hold here around the $51.48 level, almost $51.50 level, and continue up higher. But if we do start seeing a break lower than this, what is it, about 50 level, with some decent momentum behind it, then I would say the chances are really good that we can go and back test these 24th December 2018 lows. One reason why I'm saying this is that generally when you are dealing, if this whole movement is corrective in nature, by the way, my overall bias on crude oil is actually bullish, but I've not been participating in crude oil, which is one of my favorite markets, for quite some time now, because we were stuck within this pretty large range here. So the next sort of trade could probably still be taken to the downside from my side if I decide to participate in crude oil. Just note that moves like this, strong, fast and down, although they can continue like this drop from the 2018 high, they don't just drop straight down. You can have zigzag formations going down, but this is my key technical level that I'm watching at the moment. If price exceeds or breaks below this level, with some decent momentum behind it, then we could see a test of this $45.50 handle, or even go as low as the $42.39 level, which would, in my opinion, be a move downwards that started a correction with a second leg that could very easily go lower and test this low as well. Now, once this low has been tested, and if it happens, it still remains to be seen, then my bias would still be bullish. I still think that price will not be going lower than the February 2016 low, which nearly seen price move towards a $25 level. I'm viewing this as a first wave or impulsive wave high. Whether this is a correction followed by another correction low with another leg up, my bias is that crude oil will eventually turn higher and move upwards again. Now obviously you need a solid trading strategy, like I mentioned before, to try and catch these moves, maybe take some profit along the way, or even attempt to enter a few times if your bias is to the upside until you eventually get it right. Maybe even trade this with instruments that track the crude oil futures, something like an ETF, or if you guys can trade CFDs, etc., etc. But like I said, we're not really talking trading strategies today. I just wanted to give a quick overview of what I think crude oil is doing. And like I just mentioned, I've shown you where price has found resistance previously, and that I do believe that this first move lower means that we should have another move lower again. And I'm just viewing this entire movement over here as corrective. Ideally, if I do see a drop as low as this level here, then I'll definitely be sitting up and start seeing if I can get into a position and trade the way up again. Just being obviously fully aware of these important levels that failed to be broken to the upside before, this long-term center channel line and this downward sloping long-term channel line that came all the way from the 2008 high. So guys, for me at the moment, I'm not participating in crude oil. I would like to see a few things happen. Maybe this is already the start of a new move upwards, but what makes me think that we can go lower was this first impulsive move lower over here. And like I said, my bias over long term is upwards, but for me, really, there's nothing to do at the moment here. I'm fully aware that this is probably the fourth time we're going to see the 0.5 or 50% retracement level being tested. And like I said, on the fourth test with a break below that, and we could see price really decline towards this 2018 December low over here before I would get interested in actually attempting a trade to the long side in crude oil. All right, guys, and that's pretty much all I have to show you guys today. I hope you enjoyed my view on crude oil over here. I'll be doing some more technical analysis on different commodities. I do like trading commodities myself, crude oil being one of my favorite ones. Next week, we'll be releasing a video on gold, just to give you a quick overview of what I think of gold. And if you enjoyed today's video and you're not subscribed yet, then please hit the like button and make sure that you subscribe to this channel for more insightful videos in the future. Alright guys, until next time, have a great week. Cheers, bye for now.